All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a psychological puzzle that, well, let's be honest, it frustrates almost all of us. We're looking inside the narcissistic mind and specifically uncovering the incredibly fragile ego hiding in there.
Section 1. The Surface Illusion.
So, have you ever met someone who genuinely seems to live in a world where they're the absolute hero and the rest of us, we're just supporting characters? You know the type, right? That incredibly charming, hyper-confident person who literally demands all the attention in the room. But spend enough time around them and a pretty exhausting pattern emerges. They need an endless stream of validation, but the second things go sideways, poof, no responsibility whatsoever. In their mind, they are simply the misunderstood hero in their own ongoing movie.
And now to most of us, this just looks like a textbook case of simple arrogance, right? A massive, inflated ego. But here's where it gets interesting. Psychology tells us that what we're actually witnessing is a really complex defense mechanism. It's not extreme self-love. It's a mind working overtime, desperately trying to protect a deeply fragile sense of self. It's like heavy armor shielding a broken heart.
Which brings us to Section 2, blame and responsibility.
Here's the crucial thing to understand. It's not just that they dislike being wrong. I mean, nobody likes being wrong. But avoiding responsibility actually protects them from what psychologists call an emotional cost. Accepting fault means confronting some really uncomfortable truths about their own flaws. And for a mind that's built entirely on this fragile superiority, that psychological toll is just too painful to bear. They literally cannot afford the emotional cost of personal growth.
So how do they escape that pain? They build this deep-seated habit of dodging accountability at all costs. The moment something fails, they instantly project the fault outward. It's a boss who didn't explain the project right, a partner who wasn't supportive enough, or, just ridiculously bad luck. By shifting the blame, they keep that carefully constructed self-image totally intact.
Moving on to Section 3, the mask of confidence.
And here is the grand paradox of it all. Beneath that giant smiling mask, the people who appear the absolutely most self-assured are often hiding crippling self-doubt. Sometimes they secretly hate themselves. They hold impossible standards and treat every minor misstep as undeniable proof of total failure. So, to keep you from seeing that insecure reality, they massively overcompensate with intense displays of superiority.
Section 4. The need for control.
Listen, when you're hiding a secret that deep, you have to control the narrative. And it plays out in a highly predictable chain reaction. Step 1 is a fundamental fear of uncertainty. That drives Step 2, a desperate need to establish psychological safety by controlling how others perceive them. Basically, if they're directing the play, they feel safe. But Step 3, the exact second they lose that grip, the reaction is almost always childish. We're talking extreme defensiveness, sudden anger, or just intense sulking.
Let's look at Section 5, Identity and Feedback.
I want you to consider this rather haunting question. Who are you when nobody is around? For most of us, it's pretty simple. We're just ourselves. But for a highly narcissistic mind, the sense of self is incredibly unstable. Since they're constantly running from emotional discomfort, they frequently reinvent their identity. When the room is empty, they really lack a solid anchor.
And because they completely lack that stable internal foundation of self-worth, they have to outsource it. Their brain literally becomes addicted to the dopamine rush of new praise and fresh starts. They need that external validation just to feel like they exist and have value, which completely explains that endless hunger for attention we talked about at the very beginning.
This is exactly why communicating with them can feel, frankly, impossible. Think about it. An emotionally mature person takes a piece of criticism, separates it from who they are as a human being, and uses it to grow. But a narcissist? They attach their entire identity to their performance, so a tiny, helpful piece of feedback feels like a sword strike, a direct, aggressive attack on their very being. It triggers a massive defensive wall just to shield that fragile ego from humiliation.
Finally, Section 6, Navigating Hidden Patterns. Now, let's be absolutely clear about something. Decoding this behavior is not excusing it. Understanding the inner workings of a narcissistic mind doesn't mean you have to tolerate toxic actions. Not at all. But realizing that their relentless obsession with status is actually driven by profound fear, that gives you a massive advantage. Once you see the hidden reasons behind all that bravado, you can stop taking their attacks personally. It gives you the clarity you actually need to set ironclad boundaries.
And honestly, once you start decoding these hidden reasons, it totally shifts how you view human behavior in general. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible psychological forces are shaping the people you interact with every single day? Who else is wearing a mask, and what exactly are they trying to protect? Keep questioning the surface, and I guarantee you'll start noticing patterns most people completely overlook. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.